Okay, so some great insights from Shailesh on the API product management, product planning process. And as I said, it's a great lead-in to conversation with Nigel and Vincent. I think when I started talking to you, Nigel, a bit over a year ago about the API Days conference and what we were doing, and you said, well, actually, we publish APIs, and we found we did it to solve our own problem, and then we found other people wanted to use it, and that's pretty much exactly what Shailesh just described then. But what I'm really interested in learning from you now is having gone from that almost accidental API as a product thinking, what you're doing now that you've discovered that it really is a product that you can leverage, how you're taking that to the next step. So I'm very, very keen to hear more.
Fantastic. John, is my audio working?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, and you can see my slides?
See your screen, yep.
Fantastic, okay. So let's get to it. I'm really glad that we heard from Shailesh there. There are a few years ahead of us in our API journey, but we're experiencing, I think, a lot of the things that they would have experienced very early on. So hello again, everybody. It's great to be invited back to be a part of API Days Jakarta once again, and congratulations to the organisers in putting on such an awesome event. Vincent and I love contributing, and so we're here to tell our story. It's a continued story. It's kind of a part two, as John was mentioning, and so let's get into it. Vincent is here, and you'll hear from him today, as well as me. I'm the CEO of Astronaut and one of the co-founders. Vincent's been with us since very early on and leads all of the work that we do with integrations and productizing our platform. And the story of ours is very much a work in progress story. And we're keen to share with you some of the things that we've learned around what works, for us. So the flow of the presentation will be a quick intro about us, about Astronaut. And then we'll move on to talking about our software as a service business, which I think is a really important foundation, because that's obviously the lens that we look through when we make decisions around, well, what do we want to make available to the wider market? That's kind of what's in our software as a service shop is our inventory that we could make available in our platform as a service shop. And then we'll get into talking about our platform as a service or API strategy here. So as I mentioned, we are a SaaS product. We're an enterprise product. As you can see up here, there is a way for people to sign up for free. So we do have self-serve elements, and you can see we are focused predominantly on the HR and recruitment space. We are based in Singapore and Indonesia, although we do have a representation in Australia now as well. We were founded in 2016. We're a team of 18 people, and we have clients on 3 continents, which is fantastic. We really love the cloud. We really love the internet. It means that we can get global distribution while still being a tiny company in retrospect, or in comparison to others. The verticals that we focus on, as I mentioned, are employers, and particularly their HR and recruitment departments, and then also higher education providers, and namely universities is our second vertical. And that's not something that second vertical, I don't think we would have mentioned that when we were at API Days last year. This is a new fast-growing vertical for us in helping universities deal with student admission screening. So since last year, I want to tell a bit of a story around how the business has changed, and particularly how platform as a service has helped us achieve our business objectives. Yeah, so we have now surpassed 250,000 candidates through our system, so that's really fantastic. When you look at our revenue story, comparing 2020 with 2019, we doubled our revenue. We also increased quite dramatically our revenue outside of Indonesia. Prior in 2019, the number of non-Indonesian revenue, or the percentage, was around 20%. Of course, these are not exact numbers. It's not exactly 50%, but these are very indicative, and it's surprisingly close to 50-50. And then also, when you look at the revenue that comes from our SaaS business compared to our PaaS, this was definitely not the case in 2019. And so we had a dramatic boost to our revenue that we derive from the work that we class as platform as a service. And so there's a very strong business imperative for us to do what we do. And so everything we're talking to you today about is core to our business. And it's a 50% contribution to our business, and also, recently we achieved ISO 27001 compliance. Obviously, very important when we're dealing with our enterprise clients and their data. So that's a big milestone that we have achieved since the last API Days event. I'll quickly introduce what our standard product is. So the features that we have, our clients, we train them and they use our product to create landing pages, or if they've already got the candidate information, they'll invite the candidates via email, WhatsApp, or SMS. I'll get on to sort of the integration issues, as you can imagine, in a second. And then once they're invited, they do an assessment. So the candidates, for example, who are applying for a job, they do a quick assessment. If they're students or prospective students who are applying to study at a particular university, they'll do the quick assessment. And then we have 3 types of question formats. Asynchronous video, Q&A, is our core technology. And so that's one question type. Multiple choice questions, and also essay questions, or short essays. Bundled together, you can create essentially any type of assessment or test experience that you can imagine. Also, we can deliver videos, so videos and other content can be viewed as part of the experience. So it's multimedia assessment that's very flexible. It's a generic platform that's very helpful in us being able to extend this into a platform as a service world. But they're the nuts and bolts of how the platform works. And then, of course, obviously, once you have all the answers from the candidates, being the video answers, the multiple choice answers and results, and also the text data from the essays, that's all viewable in a dashboard. So that's probably what you'd expected. Now, why do customers use us? In a nutshell, well, if you're making shortlisting decisions, which is what recruitment's really all about at the beginning of the flow, you want to get useful data to make very fast, effective shortlisting decisions, so you can then invest your time synchronously and personally with your shortlist. But there's a lot of time that's wasted in traditional recruitment in terms of CV screening, and make very bad decisions, false negatives and false positives with CVs, phone screening, and even first round interviews with either recruiters or hiring managers. All of that we replace by one single step. And all of the data, of course, is verified, it's real, and it's the actual data that companies need to be able to make much more predictive decisions around shortlisting that have less bias as well. And then, of course, there you go. They can make very fast decisions. And of course, people can log in and they can asynchronously vote and make decisions through the dashboard. So that's our software as a service product. The companies that we work with to date are largely large enterprises that process very high volumes of candidates. The value proposition for the CFO is better, faster, cheaper. If you can recruit people faster, then you can get them into the business, and the business, they can add value to the business quicker. So generally 40% faster recruitment is achieved through us. And then just the time saved by both hiring managers and recruiters is huge. and also candidates. It saves candidates a huge amount of time as well. So better, faster, cheaper there. We're really happy. Actually, I had to check this to give an update. Last week, I think it was 4.7, and really happy to say 4.8 a review. So candidates really enjoy using our product, which is absolutely crucial, because that's why our clients are using us as a way to engage and get to know and shortlist candidates. So just to wrap up, the SaaS value proposition for the vertical around employers, it's great. They use us for graduate hiring, they use us for volume hiring, they use us for remote hiring. Of course, there's a lot of remote hiring happening in 2020 that wasn't happening in 2019, and so the new normal is very much a market trend in our favor. And then, of course, working with universities, and you can see here, NUS, and even Danadik in Singapore, in Indonesia, as a student loans platform. That's an edge use case. The education sector is very important for us. Okay. Oh, and one little thing here, as I mentioned, self-serve is important for us. It's not something we have focused on heavily, but we will be investing a lot in that this year. And that also ties into our views around where our API product needs to be in the near term as well. Okay, so the main topic for today, now that I've talked about our software as a service, let's get on to our platform as a service. Yep. And what is our asynchronous video API product journey been like? We're still on the journey. It was great to hear Shailesh talk about how he does and how he leads product development at Sendbird. There is lots of different ways to do it, and we're happy to sort of share with you, and Vincent will share with you a lot about how he does his work every day. So, but before I pass over to Vincent, I want to mention the business goal that we see for our API strategy, or what we call platform as a service strategy, is to get greater distribution for the technology which we've already built. And John was alluding to that in the previous Q&A. We've already built this technology. It's great in our SaaS product, but how can we make it available to other platforms in other parts of the world with other use cases as well? Because we have engineered our platform to be generic so that it can be distributed into other use cases. So greater distribution is the business goal. The product goal, and we're not here yet, is to be able to have a self-serve API product. I guess that's every API product manager's dream, is to have a very hot self-serve API product. We're not there yet. But we're definitely on the journey. But the trick is, or the question is that we ask ourselves, is how do we get there? How do we do, and this is an example actually of our live, our public document page. So we do have some elements of self-service, and Vincent's done a great job. He can talk a bit about this in the Q&A, but I'll skip over that for now. How do we do, what's the tools and the techniques we have to do product development? What's the methods that we use? Yeah, and one key takeaway that I want to highlight that's really worked well for us over the last 6 months has been to offer, as part of Astronaut's service to the market, custom build services that are built on top of our platform as a service. So we're actually we're going to customers who want a particular platform. That platform can be built on top of our PaaS, but we actually build that third-party platform as well as integrating it with our PaaS. And so I'll hand over to Vincent now to talk a bit about how he does his magic. Over to you, Vincent.
Thank you, Nigel. Now you're going to hear from perspective of someone who involved and took charge of most of the integration part in Astronaut. Like Nigel said, this topic is related and continuity to the topic that we brought a couple months ago for the API days, which is productizing our API. So for the last couple of partner that we have, the process to, the integration that we had is quite messy. The flows, the discussions, the process to create an API is messy most of the part, is because, it's hard to truly understand what our partner wants. They have a goal in mind, sure, but for the details, the flows, it's blurry most of the time, and this requires a lot of discussion, development process and trial and error, etc. With different partner also, it will come, it comes different flows. With different flows comes different requirement. So even if we generalize our API, sometimes customize it for some third-party partners. Third-party partners is the best options to meet the goal, right? Which is the product that can give the best experience to the users. This is where we get back to the core. Having a strong fundamental core features, make it available. Prioritizing it is a must, and we need to stick to our a core value, which is having asynchronous videos available to get to know people better. Because we always believe that putting candidates, a person in the cloud is much more powerful than just a CV or a resume, right? So what we did to accomplish and establish to make our platform available to partner is the first one. Click. Yep. We make ourselves to be a key part of the multi-parties workflows. Let's say the third party's partner had a chatbot experience, right? Inside of the chatbot experience, for example, there will be a button. Well, like for example, the participant will talk to the bot, and there's going to be a button there. The participant click on the button, then it will redirect the candidates into a new page, a new tab, then do an interview session, Astronaut Q&A session, and after they finish recording, it jump back to the chatbot experience. So maybe we separate it in some kind of way, but we become part of the flows, right? That's the key point. The second point is the white labeling our asynchronous videos pure from our API. We have two types of product for the integration part. First one is the server-side integration, and the second one is the client-side integration. With this, partner can use our features from our platforms, like for example, creating a job, questions, send invitation, but also having an astronaut interview Q&A experience inside of in their platforms. So for the third one, is to open up more functionality, like for example the multiple choice questions that we have in our platforms to be part of the API product, and also open up for the other industry. With that said, this is what we're trying to accomplish now as a part of our PaaS strategy, which is to create a new product internally for different type of industry. We can't wait to see if other interested in to integrate, right? So go to the next slide, please, Nigel. Okay. So there's two great examples for opening our API to others industry. In specific, it's the e-learning. Oh yeah, the blue button is the blue circle is the third party's platform that we integrate with. But you can see below it, there's a Cognizy and PopSchool. Cognizy is in Cognizy, our PaaS is used for the e-course delivery, right? Yeah. It's our internal e-learning product that we built for Compass Group Media and based on our PaaS, built on top of our technology. And the second one is the PopSchool, the same with Cognizy, but our PaaS is used for skill certification. This Cognizy and PopSchool are a great example where we are being very flexible with our API. Most of the integration we had before is for recruitment purpose, right? For the HR industry, but we build a new API for these education opportunities. With that said, and also it helps us to work with a new type of clients in education sector like PNSP, right? Yeah. Can you go to the next slide, Nigel? So it is important to get partners, not only to open up an opportunity for our company to expand, to grow, but also to open up an opportunity to extend and evolve our product to many different kind of industry and to become a different kind of product. The most important key points of strategy that we had that works for us are always be open for new opportunities and partners, and also to listen to them, trying to understand their problems, their goal, be present for them, trying to find a solution together, and also be proactive, be flexible, just be open with them, treat them as a family, I guess. That's what Nigel said. The third point is offering the custom build with our PaaS, this allow us to build platforms based on our API ourselves. Not only wait for them to be interested on us, but to build our own third-party platform, for them. And for internal purpose, this is really great, especially for me, to see how easy it is and how complex it is to build a platform on top of our PaaS technology again and again. And some ideas for the Astronaut Labs. This is some sort of platform to store all the information about our PaaS product, like documentation, demo, but also to give feedback and support for our partners. That's all from me. Back to you, Nigel.
Great. Thanks, Vincent. That was really awesome. And I'm really glad that you could join us today and share that. I know you've been living and breathing this for a few years now, and I'm really excited with what's to come. I want to take a helicopter view now and tell a bit of a story about what we're seeing with the opportunity that exists, for us if we look at the talent ecosystem in Indonesia, and how we can assist the talent ecosystem and all the elements of the talent ecosystem to digitize, to modernize, to be sustainable, to achieve the government's objectives, for businesses to achieve their objectives. The whole ecosystem needs great quality solutions. And how can Astronaut play our part in making sure that that we can contribute to that? Well, if it was just us and our SaaS offering, we wouldn't be able to play the sizable role that we can with PaaS. And so when we look at the mainstream market for the talent ecosystem, we're talking about the traditional education providers, the traditional recruitment providers, the traditional assessment providers, traditional certification bodies. These are folks that even a few years ago were largely using paper and face-to-face and people traveling. Now their businesses obviously are going through a huge flux at the moment. They don't have tech teams, they don't have huge budgets, and they're under a lot of stress. And there's been, obviously because of COVID, so much change and flux that the traditional providers in the talent ecosystem need solutions, and they need partners that they can trust. And so how we serve these players is largely with our software as a service product. However, of course, the market is made up not just of traditional players. There are a huge amount of well-funded, call them disruptors or whatnot, but pure play digital platforms that exist to solve really significant problems and add value to different parts of the talent ecosystem. And you saw two organizations there previously in the previous slide when Vincent was talking about, Cognicy is one, built by Astronaut on our platform as a service, and also PopSchool, again, built by Astronaut on our platform as a service. Now, what about all these other players? Well, we actually integrate with a few of them, and we're in talks with a number of them as well to integrate the pieces of our platform that they would rather partner with, going back to what Shailesh was saying previously around the buy versus build decision. There are core elements of our platform that are already easy enough because of Vincent's generous time and willingness to listen and being present, that are easy enough for them to integrate, and they are reliable and scalable for them to already put in their platforms. But we can do a lot better, and we can make it more plug and play. And so we really, really see a huge opportunity to partner across the board, across the whole talent ecosystem. And one thing that Vincent alluded to, but I just want to make it really, really quite significantly obvious, is that CVs have been the traditional currency of how people communicate who they are and what they do. But as platforms like Astronaut and others that do online assessment with much deeper, richer multimedia, the data that's being collected in an opt-in way is leading to actually a scenario in a future world where the actual candidates are in the cloud, not their CVs in the cloud or their assessment results are in the cloud. The actual candidates, their digital twins, the videos of them talking, answering questions, etc., are actually in the cloud. And that's a fundamental difference to the way that the talent ecosystem works in the future. And we're quite excited about that. I just want to add one last thing before we get to Q&A. This was just an article I found. I've got a Google alert set up for asynchronous video, that phrase. And it's been really exciting to see lots of use cases come up, particularly in 2020. So this is a quote. Emerging real-time asynchronous video use cases include education, distance learning, remote realtor viewings, virtual open houses, HR recruitment, remote interviews, and even online dating apps. So asynchronous video is generic. It's just the asynchronous version of synchronous, like Zoom, etc. And there are lots and lots of use cases, and that's what gets us excited. Here we go. That's it for today, John.
Thanks very much, Nigel and Vincent, for those insights. We do actually have a question, and I think it relates to what you talked about, the part custom, part product, when you're building a product. So the question is, for the smart filtering feature, are the parameters for that filtering decided by Astronaut, or can the customer decide it on themselves?
Yeah, the
tuning
customer
parameters that you can say.
Yeah, it's entirely up to the customer. So that is a feature. Of course, there are presets in the future, but we're very much we're not a black box platform at all in the way that our platform works. And so, the parameters that are used for the smart filtering, that is set by clients. Of course, on a case-by-case basis, we can build predictive tools, and we do that as well. As you can imagine, the data that is there in video answers, voice, what people are saying, the context of what they're saying is very important. We don't use any facial data. That's not effective. But as digital twins was what I referenced there, as more data is being collected in an opt-in way, there are lots, that concept of smart filtering will get more powerful. Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks very much again. That's great insights into the product planning, the API product planning process, and really extends the session we had with Shailesh earlier.